Thanks for stopping back in with us today. Marty T. Hawkins here with Warehouse and Operations as a Career. Today I'd like to share a situation I ran across last week that I think is a relatively new issue in our industry. Well, I guess it's always been an important issue, but maybe we just have to take it a little more seriously now than ever before. That issue is workplace violence, and more importantly, how even an argument on the floor can stick with us throughout our work careers. Oh yeah, my weekend. I'll tell you what, let's start today on a little bit lighter note real quick. Last weekend, I was honored to have the opportunity to attend a safety rodeo, and I've heard them called equipment rodeos. I myself, like the word safety being in there somewhere. If you ever have a chance to be a participant, be sure and take advantage of it and sign up. I've attended probably 60 or 70 of these over the years, and I can honestly say I've enjoyed every one of them, and I've learned something every time I'm around the contestants. Their purpose is usually to bring our families to our workplace and meet and fellowship with our peers and show everyone our skills. Everybody likes showing off a little bit. The one I visited last week was in New Mexico, and I've got to say it was really one of the best ones that I've seen. Not really the largest, but it was laid out very well, and I think everyone had a blast competing and meeting everyone's families. It was really neat. The management team cooked for everyone, and they had some amazing snacks throughout the day. I think probably the most stressful points to a rodeo are the safety testing in the pre-trip areas. The safety testing for the warehouse participants is usually something like 10 to 25 questions on safety in the warehouse and the equipment usage. The transportation testing will usually be on state regulations and DOT safeties and laws within the state. A rodeo usually consists of 3 different events, really. One event for the pallet jack operators, and that one can even be broken down into a singles category and a doubles category. I don't think I've ever seen a triple pallet jack event. That'd take up a whole lot of dock space, wouldn't it? The second event is usually for forklift operators, and again, that event can be broken out into 2 different categories, the stand-up types and the set-down lifts. And of course, the third event's transportation. I've seen this event broken out into, where it includes a box truck or a straight truck competition, and maybe a 28-foot tractor trailer event or 36 or 48-foot. I don't think I've ever seen a 53-foot, again, probably due to the amount of space that would take up. The warehouse courses are typically constructed using pallets that are stood on end. Yep, a bit surprising to you, as all we've ever heard through our training that we're never, ever supposed to stand a pallet on its end. But hey, we're in a controlled environment, and they do make the best obstacles for a competition course. There's probably hundreds of variations, but usually you'll have a very tight figure 8 track, maybe a blind pallet drop and a couple of squeeze turns, and usually a straightaway to make while we're carrying a load. The forklift event is about the same, utilizing the same type of obstacles and challenges. In the driver or transportation events, those are designed with our day in and day out delivery challenges being tested, like right-hand turns, blind side backing, and straightaway pulling skills. As a delivery or route driver, those are the skills that are presented to us pretty much every day. After the safety testing, each event has a pretty rigorous pre-trip test that we have to go through. These are really cool. That's where our maintenance man will disable 3 or 4 of our equipment safety or operational components, and we have to find them while performing our equipment pre-checks. These are really fun, as we typically don't get to have our checklist in hand like we would during our normal shifts. Anyway, at each event, we'll be judged, usually by volunteers, by our company's vendors, or maybe third-party partners on our skills driving through the courses. Usually, points are deducted each time we touch a pallet, or maybe a traffic cone, or have to stop and restart, things like that. Times may be kept while we're running through the courses. Usually, I see time as kind of a tiebreaker. I personally, I've found it best not to worry about our times. It's much better to run the course taking our time, not hitting a barrier or having to stop and reset up a turn. It may take us a bit longer, but those are the things that take points from us. If we have a 100, we don't really have to be concerned with our time. It's only used to break a tie. You can always spot a first-time contestant. He or she is trying to speed through the course, whereas a seasoned or a repeat contestant or titled winner is taking their time and just trying to keep a steady, even flow throughout the course without touching anything. I love seeing, all in fun, of course, little side competitions between the day shift and the night shift operators. I'm always asked, which shift has the better or more productive operators? I personally feel whether you're an inbound or an outbound operator in the distribution or production worlds, or even in a freight handling warehouse, an operator is an operator. And we can all perform the same task. I feel if we take any operator and put them on a generic course, such as we just discussed, it'll be a level playing field for everyone. I had the privilege to speak with a couple of warehousemen that had very successful careers with their company operating the pallet jacks and forklifts. We talked quite a bit about the changes, in our equipment over the last 15 years, from the single jacks to doubles and now triple jacks, and our forklifts from 3 or 4 operating levers, to operate the controls, to a single joystick configuration, and how much safer and convenient or easy to use our equipment is now. Like I said, I loved competing in these events back in the day, and now I think I get as excited as the contestants do when they pull up to that starting line. It's really great to see the best of the best competing with all their peers. I highly recommend you signed up, if your facility puts on a rodeo, and the prizes are usually really awesome as well. I generally see a monetary prize for first, second, and third place winners in each event. And drawings are usually held throughout the day for things like surround sound systems, big screen TVs, maybe some small kitchen appliances, a lot of tech equipment like laptops and tablets, and my personal favorites, gift cards. Like I said, it's a great time to visit with our peers and their families, and let's face it, it's great to show off our skills a bit every now and then. And if you're working with a large national company, the first place winners may have the opportunity to travel for a national competition to compete with the winners, of other facilities for a kind of best of the best showdown. It's always a really fun trip for our significant others too, and, we'll get to meet other operators from across the country. Rodeos are another great way to get noticed by our management teams too. What a great way to show our enthusiasm, interest, and skills. Well, I veered way off subject with that thought, but hey, it's a good topic also, right? Okay, let's get back to the topic that I wanted to cover, a couple of thoughts on workplace violence. A young gentleman lost his job over an argument that never should have escalated to the point of hands being laid on another employee. In today's world, an argument where words are said that really shouldn't have been said can be tagged a terroristic threat, and when hands are laid on another, it can also be called assault. Not that I disagree at all. We're living in a world today where everything has to be taken seriously, and let's be honest with ourselves. We should not let those kind of things bother us or get to that point. Every company I know of encourages us to walk away and report the incident immediately. There's a zero-tolerance policy for these kinds of actions. This is where I'm concerned we may not realize how these charges can stick with us for years and really impede our ability to get certain positions in the future. In this particular case, the gentleman had no kind of previous record at all. The company he was with and the associate that he allegedly pushed or hit almost pressed charges against him. Today, those kinds of charges are not what we want when a background check is ran on us. Here's something I found real quick at OSHA.gov, and I'll add the link in today's show notes. So what is workplace violence? Simply put, workplace violence is violence or the threat of violence against workers. Who is at risk of workplace violence? And I found this really interesting. Some 2 million American workers are victims of workplace violence each year. Workplace violence can strike anywhere, and no one is immune. You know, workers have a right to a safe workplace. The law requires employers to provide their employees with safe and healthful workplaces. And I found these two definitions at merriam-webster.com. Terroristic threat. A terroristic threat is a threat to commit a crime of violence or a threat to cause bodily injury to another person and terrorization as a result of the prescribed conduct. And I looked up assault and battery also, the crime of threatening a person together with the act of making physical contact with them. Please remember how important to our careers these situations are. Our actions and how we handle ourselves in them can really determine the money that we can earn. Let's all take care of our jobs and our careers. Letting things get out of hand or handling them wrong could stay with us for the next 3 to 7 years. Well, that's enough of all that. I hope you heard something that helps you in your careers today. And if you have a chance to enter a safety or equipment rodeo, please do. I guarantee you'll enjoy it, and it very well may help us get noticed by our management teams. Until next week, please think safe, be safe, and let's all be responsible with our actions.